At one time, magicians were extremely popular. You would see them often on TV variety shows. People were very impressed with their sleight of hand tricks, distract the audience with one hand while grabbing a trick gadget or rabbit or whatever from the other. The audience oohs and ahs, how did they do that? Well, I think they are still out there, but they've taken on a new different look. They might be cooks, food manufacturers, restaurateurs, accountants, lawyers, financial planners, pharmaceutical developers, politicians, lawyers, and a host of others. Are they concerned with the noble ethics their profession stands for, or are they also good at the sleight of hand? Deception, misleading advertisements, unhealthy cheaper ingredients, exaggeration, telling half-truths, and the list goes on and on. Let's look at today's dishonesty covered up in the guise of profits. Accountants often have to make the bottom line look the way the owners or stockholders want it to look. The IRS tax code is over 6,800 pages long. There are lots of loopholes. They have magic tricks they can pull. Social Security system which is going broke can be fixed BTPY just having those who make over $140,000 keep paying the Social Security taxes. If anyone can afford 6.2%, they can. I have never heard a politician even propose it. They always say make the rich pay more, but it never happens. It's a magic trick, you say one thing and do another. Food manufacturers have discovered a few sleight of hand tricks of their own. They decrease the amount of key ingredients with lower cost alternatives, altering the taste ever so slightly that the consumer doesn't notice it. Reduce the portion size, but the box looks the same. They add fillers by incorporating water and starch and in the process, reduce the cost. They also use lower wage workers which are less skilled whereby possibly reducing the cost of production but also they might be reducing the quality. If you notice restaurants love to serve you fried food, it's cheaper to produce fried foods and its oil is reused in restaurants. There is also a huge difference in oil healthiness. Those with a saturated fat are the most unhealthy. Unhealthy oil will increase your chance over time of clogging your arteries. Oil like extra virgin olive oil is considered the best. Most of probably your favorite restaurant are not using the best oil and they are recycling it. Are you beginning to wonder why Americans are less healthy? Well, they are eating less healthy food. Generally only the more expensive ones might be using better oil, but most are cutting corners. Restaurants will often use less skilled workers, possibly migrants who will work for very little cost, not knowing the language well. They are at the mercy of employers. Mistakes are bound to be made. Are we beginning to see why Americans are eating less healthy diets leading to more disease? Think pharmaceuticals are about curing diseases? Bless your heart. It might start that way, they might hope it turns out that way, but the bottom line seems to always be about money. I'm not saying they never produce a good product, but they have to keep making new expensive ones. It's about selling pills, baby. They must produce new pills to be more profitable. Oh, many might help a little, but with a list of side effects that would scare anyone from taking one. But when you are desperate, wouldn't you take one? And what sells better than a miracle cure? Especially when your options are very, very few. And the options are all bad. The new pill, which always is extremely expensive, may reduce your bad numbers, but at the cost of horrible side effects. Drug companies pour billions into marketing, often exaggerating benefits and downplaying risks. The K Street lobbyists are hard at work. They wine and dine doctors, showering them with freebies and educational trips that feel suspiciously like vacations in exchange for recommending their new products. And those clinical trials? Not always the bastions of scientific rigor you might hope. Negative results get swept under the rug, while positive ones are shouted from the rooftops. It's enough to make you reach for a homeopathic remedy, which, let's be honest, may just be sugar water in a fancy bottle. But not all. Some home remedies I have found to be better than the prescribed drugs, and the supplement industry is booming. People are looking for something that will make them healthy and reduce their pain. I have to admit I take some and I swear they help. Of course they are uncontrolled by the FDA, so you have no agency protecting you. Many family physicians won't give you much guidance, so it's you and the internet trying to find things that work. Doctors, those hallowed beings in white coats, are only human. They make mistakes. They have bad days. They even, gasp, lose patience. We had a nurse friend that went to the hospital the night before her husband was to have shoulder surgery and taped to her husband's one shoulder. This is the wrong shoulder. She saw too many mistakes made in hospitals and was not going to have it done to him. Yes, doctors and hospitals make mistakes. But admitting them doesn't exactly inspire confidence, does it? Think of the lawsuits and costs involved when something bad happens. So, some doctors play a little game of medical Jenga. They avoid taking on risky cases, cherry-picking patients who are most likely to survive and thrive. This creates the illusion of a perfect track record, but at what cost? The patients who need the most help, who are the most vulnerable, get shuffled aside. They become statistics, hidden from view, victims of the medical system's obsession with appearances. Politicians, those masters of spin, those weavers of dreams, or should I say weavers of half-truths, always blaming their opponents and sometimes demonizing them. This does not create unity. We are not told the whole truth. Show us how to solve a problem, not demonize the other guy should be a prerequisite for any debate. If a candidate starts talking about the faults of another, his mic should be shut off in my opinion. They promise the moon and the stars, all the while lining their own pockets and those of their cronies. Have you ever seen a politician go into office with modest income and come back looking like millionaires? No wonder the public doesn't trust them. Remember that time they promised lower taxes? Yeah, right before they raised the cost of everything else by spending 20% more than the revenue they brought in. You think the $36 trillion national debt has no affect on you? Guess again, we spend as much on interest as we do on national defense, which means we can't fix what needs to be fixed because we are spending it on interest. The result is snowballing inflation and never fix the things that need attention, like a crumbling infrastructure, roads, bridges, and protecting our electrical grid that needs serious attention. Can we afford to do it? Can we afford not to do it? Doesn't anyone follow a budget anymore? What kind of budget spends $2 trillion more than it brings in? The one thing you can bet on is inflation will continue for the foreseeable future. It's easy. Politicians need more money, they print more or borrow more. If we get back to honesty, transparency, won't we be a better country? It might mean we have to make some hard decisions that admittedly will hurt in the short run, but will be better in the long run. How about that pledge to fix healthcare? Oh, some may have good intentions at the start, but when the final deal is made after all the paid influencers get involved, it often turns out that it is now more profitable for insurance companies and more costs for the patient. Transparency, accountability, laughable at best. Those words are about as common in politics as unicorns at a dog show. It's all about maintaining the illusion, keeping the public distracted while the real business gets done behind closed doors. Am I just a skeptic with conspiracy theories? I would love to be proven wrong, but the evidence is overwhelming. Money talks, and it usually has the last say. If we only vote for the leaders' names we recognize and continue to vote them into office because they have the most money and will promise you the most, are we really getting the best? What we need for our country, we need individuals that truly want to do things for the right reason. Those who would explain the truth, even if it's not what the public wants to hear. Explain the bills proposed, the pros and the cons to the public, not the tricks pulled now, where a 5,000-page bill which was constructed behind closed doors, filled with pet pork projects from the makers of the bill, and then is brought to the House floor 2 days before the vote has taken place. No one can even read it, and everyone is leaving for the holidays the next day. It's been said democracy is just one generation before it falls apart. We need an involved, educated public. Let's hope the public can stay engaged and find these honest leaders who care more about the public than their own personal assets. We have some for sure. We need more. Let's not just vote in the same individuals because we recognize their name and they have money for lavish campaigns while other better candidates struggle to get your attention. Our future depends on it. This is Village Vic. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel at Village Vic. Your comments are appreciated.